I was at the end of my rope, and I remember standing on the cliff in Pismo Beach, about to jump off the cliff, and because I had a very abusive boyfriend, I left the cliff and I went straight to the church, and that was the first time where faith actually like saved my life, and in a way where it wasn't the construct of a church.
You know how I always say, life be lifin'? Well, I have another amazing guest today on Out of the Fire. We're sitting down with Vicky Story, entrepreneur, executive producer, mother, author, and a woman whose life's journey proves that sometimes your greatest breakdown becomes your greatest awakening. Vicky's story isn't just about success, it's about transformation. It's about growing up first generation Filipino in South Central Los Angeles, overcoming adversity, breaking stereotypes, and learning that the true power begins when you finally choose yourself. After years of pouring into everyone around her, Vicky faced a personal and physical wake-up call that forced her to slow down, heal, and reconnect with a deeper purpose. The journey became the foundation of her new upcoming book, The Sunshine Revolution, and the powerful framework she calls the Sunshine Method. This conversation is raw, inspiring, and deeply healing. We'll talk about burnout, identity, spirituality, reinvention, and what it really means to become the light of your own life. If you ever felt lost, overextended, unseen, or ready for the next chapter, this episode's for you. Please welcome to the show, Vicky Story.
That's me.
Thank you for coming on Out of the Fire. um, we've known each other for, I don't know, how many years? 3 or 4 years now?
Probably,
Yeah,
yeah.
3 or 4 years. And it's funny how like-minded people get together.
Yes.
We met at a fundraiser and we sat next to each other and we immediately just had the gift of gab of becoming friends and talking about how much we love hiking.
Yes.
But I'm so excited about your book, The Sunshine Revolution. I am so excited to learn more about the Sunshine Method that you're talking about. And most importantly, I just want to give us the framework. Let's go back. Let's go back when you first started here in LA, Filipino, South Central. We all know South Central. Going to SC. You're a big movie producer. You're a mom. You have a lot of stuff going on. Take me back to growing up in LA and how you made your transition through this wavery world of Los Angeles.
Well, I didn't go to
Oh, you
USC.
didn't? I thought you
I grew
did.
up across the street from it. So
Okay.
I'm
Well,
like
I
a
got that wrong.
adopted
Okay.
Trojan.
Yeah. Well, that's South Central for sure. Yeah, they've
Yes.
cleaned it up now.
Yeah.
It's totally clean.
Yeah, the village is no longer the village. It is
Yes.
now part of the USC campus.
Yeah.
But, it was way back, I won't say the year.
That's okay.
But my mom immigrated from the Philippines and she moved to Ohio, which is where she was first hired as a teacher.
Okay.
And it was way too cold, snowed, and coming from the Philippines, she was
Yeah.
like, we're not doing that. So she found a great uncle in California, drove across country, and I was born literally at the California Hospital by USC and grew up right there, smack dab in
My
the
parents
middle
were
of
born there
South
also.
Central. Really?
Yeah, I'm an Angelino, so yeah. I'm
Okay.
second, third generation Angelino, so my parents were
Wow.
born there. Yes.
So we probably know the same
Yes.
area.
Yes. Now, when your mom came out here, did she come out here with other kids, or it was just you, or
My
how many
my
brothers and
older
sisters?
brother,
Okay.
he was one at the time. So she came first and then brought my father and my brother. So it was just them and their 1-year-old baby, and she was pregnant as she drove across
Wow.
country.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It
landed
was
in
wild.
LA.
Landed in LA.
Mhm.
And that home, like, literally shepherded most families that they brought over, sponsored over from the Philippines.
Oh,
And
they sponsored people from the
yeah, they
Philippines. That's
absolutely.
amazing.
It was way easier then,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the accountants, teachers, nurses that came over back then was, they'd call who's in LA or who's,
That's
and they'll
really
transfer
interesting
that.
that
Yeah.
that foundation that you've had growing up in LA is very similar to my foundation because my parents were very involved in the civil rights movement. So when still back in the 60s or the early 60s or the 50s when you couldn't stay at hotels, like people came
Mm-hmm.
to stay at our house a lot, and that was a big thing that people came, like, if they came to town, they had to stay at someone's house
Oh,
because they
absolutely.
couldn't get
Yeah.
hotels and stuff,
Yeah.
especially, like, late 50s or something like that,
Right.
so, because 'cause I'm no spring chicken either, but I think I'm even older than you, so I've been in LA for a long time, my whole family, and, LA's got so many amazing roots anyway. It's just we can get into I have a whole 'nother story to get into that on another podcast, but just getting into the roots of LA. So,
Yeah.
give me so you grew up in LA, high school, where'd you go to give me
I
your
went to
schooling?
Manual Arts.
Oh, you
I went to
did?
Manual Arts High.
Okay.
It was interesting because, being the only Filipino family, or one of the only, I think the neighborhood that also immigrated, it was just literally our neighborhood and then cousins. It was so interesting to be in, mostly black neighborhood
Yep.
growing up as,
He was in the
Filipino.
hood.
I
He was
was
in the
like,
hood.
completely deep,
Yes.
and so, over time it's like I just became like a part of the
Right.
family,
Right.
and so that there's a
And manual
certain.
arts, you said manual arts,
Yeah, I
right?
went to
That
Manual
was a
Arts.
rough school
That's on
too.
King in Vermont.
Yeah, that's a rough school too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Tim also says, he's like, I used to be scared to go over there play
Mhm.
basketball games.
But you knew what you were doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it was great because I became. There were so many similarities between the Filipino culture and the African American culture
Yes.
that I really think just family and the community, like I just kind of like acclimated and I began to assimilate in so
Mhm.
many ways, and it just became a part of who I am.
Right. Right.
And it's now I don't even think about it. Like people always ask me like if I'm black
Well,
or
I
some.
honestly, I thought you were black when I first met you. Seriously. I mean,
Exactly. That's
it's
what
just
most
fun,
people
but the
do.
cultures they do they're very similar. Very
Hmm.
similar culture. Let
We
me
just
ask you
got each other's backs.
yes,
That's the biggest thing.
exactly.
You know.
It's really funny that you say that. So, growing up in South Central, how did that
Hmm.
shape you as a woman? Like, give me like that foundation and make you tougher. What do you think?
There becomes this like bravery. I
Mhm.
think the biggest thing for me was there's a bravery that I understand now that is in my cells of my body,
Your
like,
DNA.
that it becomes a part of you when you are from. And back then, you had territories. You couldn't leave
Oh.
cross certain streets because you.
And that's when the Crips and Bloods were big. Like,
1000%.
okay, let me just
So you don't go too far.
Right.
So when you're in your neighborhood, like you're welcomed in a way, and you know that the people, families that have your back. So so for me, what it did was it helped me understand my own power as an adult.
Wow.
Like when I was younger, fear was a real thing, and so what it did for me was it helped me understand a people, right?
Mhm.
A fight,
Mhm.
a certain, integration into life where I don't think I would be able to survive places in the world if I didn't have that upbringing of like, no, you got to
You have
make it.
backbone.
You have, yeah. And I think that was like, that's, I think, one of the things that I appreciate. And then like going into like my friends' homes, it's like, wow, like there's like a deeper love that I think that I didn't understand because I come from the culture of the Filipinos where it's a very much so non-emotional.
Mhm.
You don't see that emotional intelligence,
Mhm.
not from the generation and from the culture. It's like it's a very strict, upbringing. So like
Mhm.
I'd go into my family's, like friends' homes. I'm like, dang, y'all actually like hug and like say I love you and like talk
And
shit and
so
like.
you didn't grow up that way. Filipinos aren't like that, you're saying.
No, it was not. So, but me growing up in South Central,
Right,
it
around a
was
lot
like
of
a.
black people who are like,
Yeah, it
"Come in
was
some come
like,
on, honey, come on in
yeah.
here."
But
Yeah.
then there were some commonalities, right?
Yeah.
Love around food.
Yes. I was
Like,
actually about to say, when are we starting to cook Filipino food together?
exactly,
You got
right,
to come on my
yeah.
cooking blog and
Right,
cook with
yeah.
me.
So it's
Yes.
like those are the things that we did find. I did
Mhm.
find commonality where like my parents always welcomed my friends over and like they had to eat their food.
Right. Right.
It's like because you're gonna be forced to eat the food. But, so those are the things that I think that it was really like warm,
Yep.
and welcoming and that is a realization now. Back then it was tough because the younger you are, the younger I was, I remember being like, kind of like an unknown, like, what is she?
Right. Right. We don't know what to like.
Yeah,
What are
because
you? Yeah.
yeah, like I know that I was bullied because it was like they thought I was Chinese because my dad cut my hair. I had the bowl cut, everything.
Right.
And
Your dad
so,
cut your hair. That's interesting.
well, we didn't have money, so it was like
Your
you
mom
just
didn't cut your hair. Your dad cut. I've never heard the dad
no,
cut the
yeah.
daughter's hair. That's the first time I've ever heard that. So I'm sorry. That just
No, well,
triggered me.
yeah. Well, see, my uncle was a barber,
Okay. Okay.
so I think my dad thought, well, it's in the family. I can cut hair too.
That's hilarious. I don't know how I got off of that tangent.
I
But I'm
know.
like, your dad cut
I
your
know,
hair, not
it's-
your mom.
Listen,
That's funny.
I've seen my dad do a lot of things that
That's
like
so
were like,
funny.
oh my God.
So
Like,
growing up as a young girl in South Central, what were your aspirations then and where you are now? Because I really want to jump in.
oh
I mean, you've
gosh, yeah.
produced many movies.
It's
You've done so much. So what were your goals when you were young?
honestly, I didn't really know, but I think that because of course coming up in the culture, it's like you're supposed to like be a doctor, a
Right.
nurse, or like, so
My
it's
family
like
too.
it's like you're not supposed to do anything creative.
Yeah.
The arts don't make money, they don't have benefits.
Same. I went through the same thing growing
So-
up. So.
No.
Mhm.
But I used to like sing in the shower or from my cousins. Like I
Mhm.
thought that I had talent, but clearly that's not the route I should be going in.
Right.
Right. So I didn't really have, but I did know I was good in business because my dad, like he was an entrepreneur. My mom was a teacher for LAUSD for like 30 years.
So was my mom. That's crazy.
See, I think we actually found commonalities
Yeah.
like that night
Yes,
when we met.
my mom was a teacher for many years too. And then she became a psychologist, but my mom was a teacher. Mhm.
Yeah. So you know that there's that stability, but then my dad was like the entrepreneur that like opened, so many businesses.
Right.
And so I used to like shadow him, I'll say. And just
Right.
like every time he would go shopping downtown for like wholesale stuff to sell in the store, he would teach me about the profit and loss and like, how to shop for certain things to make a profit. So I had a knack for business. Like I would be on the milk crate,
Mm-hmm.
at the cash register, like
mhm.
as he was in the back stocking,
Mm-hmm.
groceries. I'd be there like counting backwards because they didn't have the registers that can do the change for you.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had a natural knack for like business.
So he had a store.
he had a store, grocery store
Okay.
on Vermont 25th.
Oh wow. That's
Yep.
big. A grocery
Yeah.
store. Wow. Seriously.
It
I
was
mean
like
that
a little bodega type of thing,
it's
but it
interesting
was
you
still
say that. That's another common thing that we have that
Mhm.
we haven't discussed. So my mom, after my parents got divorced, my mom's boyfriend owned a liquor store on 54th and Western. Now, I grew up in Ladera Heights. So I'm like, I'm a Ladera Heights private school girl, but I went and worked at his liquor store and it was crazy. But I honestly say that taught me how to be a little rough. It gave me street sense. And I'm thankful for now. I remember I used to go, I don't want to go. The best thing that ever
Yeah.
happened to me. So it's funny working in a store
It
because
is.
everybody comes in a store and you have to deal with crazy people and nice people and the neighborhood comes in there and you get to know people.
You learned the smell of weed.
You learn to smell weed. No, but it is. It's
I mean, it's a true thing. Like we got robbed. We was,
Yes.
and like it's crazy.
It's a
like
different element. I can't believe that you and I are talking about that, but that is one thing that, like, seriously, my father got divorced, and my mom's a doctor, my dad's a lawyer, and this guy was a guy who owned liquor stores. But he taught me a lot. I became a different kid. I became rough and like I'm working at the store down off of Western, like cash and
you was in my hood.
dealing with real people.
Yes.
And it gave me a different edge.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry to
Yeah, no,
interrupt but
that's
yes.
that's exactly when you say that's what I gained out
Yes.
of the,
Yes.
And when we got robbed, I think that's the first time I ever saw my dad, become that man of
So
like
you got somebody
oh,
came in
he
with a
came
gun or
in,
something?
asked for the money from the register, put in his backpack, walked out. My dad pulled a steel pole out from under the register, ran after the man, and started bashing his windows. And I was like,
He's like, give me my money.
Papa, what are you doing? I mean, it was like, but again, like he's coming from, the province in the Philippines.
Right.
So protecting land and the farms on
Right.
his carabao, with a machete, so
Yeah.
he's like, that's why he saw us say to us, like, you're complaining about walking? Like, do you
Right.
know we had to walk
Right.
some bamboo bridges
Right.
in the Philippines just to get to the Philippines? I mean, get to school. So it's like that type of resilience too is something that I think lives in me as well because of growing up the way
Background.
we did. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
the thing of it is honestly survival background, family lineage. That's all plays in our survival and what we're learning and where we're going next. So, how did you transition into the creative space since your parents weren't really into that? How did you find the courage? How did you find what was that pivotal point for you when you started moving into your creative world and being confident to do it?
So continue the story of growing up in the grocery store,
Yep.
right? I had a business sense, right? So when I first started talking to Tim about indie movies, right? He's a film kid out of USC.
Now, how'd you meet Tim? Let's back up. Tim's your
Oh
husband.
gosh, Tim's Story is my husband.
Not everybody knows
Bless
that.
him.
Yeah.
Of 22 years now.
Wow,
Yeah.
congratulations. And I remember when Tim was just doing our music videos around
Yes.
town. He was doing all our music videos.
Yes.
But that was before. So
That was before.
You guys met in college?
We met outside of college because,
Okay.
well, I didn't quite graduate when he graduated,
Okay.
but I was around USC
Right.
and like all of the college kids and, Westchester High.
Yep. My sister and brother went to Westchester.
I
Yep.
knew it. See?
My
There,
sister-
yeah.
I went to
see?
St. Mary's. My mom was like, no, she's going to St. Mary's, even though I was probably better than them. But my sister and
That's
brother
probably why
went to
they
Westchester.
put you in private school.
Exactly. They were trying to tame me down.
Exactly.
It didn't work very well, but yeah. Westchester.
Yeah, so he grew up, so there was of course, a Westchester
Mhm.
bonfire at Dockweiler. You know
Mhm.
how we
Yep.
used to do.
Yep.
So
Yes.
I, along with a couple of my friends, we go to the Westchester bonfire.
Yep.
And I meet him and friends there. And so at that time, I started dating his friend,
Mhm.
and he was dating one of the other friends.
Okay.
And then 2 years later, we ran into each other after we were no longer with our significant others.
Mhm.
And then
And what age is this around?
20 when we met, 22. When we
Okay.
got
So you guys
when
were-
we
You guys were
reconnected.
young adults at this point.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, we were fresh out of college.
Okay.
Like run the streets.
Yeah. Having fun.
Clearly, having fun.
Having fun. Best time of your life.
Yes, exactly. So when I think around 25 years old is when we reconnected and ran into each other at the City Walk,
Okay.
Universal City. It was
Mhm.
like, hey,
I know you.
I know you. And oddly enough, and now I know it was all divine that we ran into each other without a friend. Like it was just he and I in a parking lot.
Wow.
Odd, right? I was
That's
like, what were we doing in
crazy.
Universal City? Like, why? That's, again,
Yeah.
divine.
Synchronicity. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so then he's like, you should come to my screening. I just did a film at the Baldwin Theater. I was like, what? You actually finished a film at this age? And I'm from the hood, so it's just survival.
Right.
We're just trying to hustle to make it to the next day.
Mm-hmm.
We're just trying to
Mhm.
not be stuck in a drive-by,
Mm-hmm.
wrong place at the wrong time.
Yes.
So I really was like, you're special. Like, I didn't tell him that
Right.
because no man ever needs to hear that at 22.
No, not that early on anyway. You just got to keep that to
Yeah,
yourself. You're
exactly.
like, oh, you're interesting.
Yeah, you're
you
interested,
produced a
but
movie?
but yeah.
Oh, I'm interested
Yeah.
in that, but I'm not going to let you know that.
Right. Oh, yeah, I'll come.
Yeah.
I'll come. Showed up all hot.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
Anyway, I ended up going to dinner with him. We were already friends. I was like, let's go grab food. So we went to dinner, and he's literally pitching his next idea of his next movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when he says, all I need is like $10,000 to, raise to shoot my trailer. And I, being the businesswoman that I am, was like, well, what if I give you $10,000?
Now, where did you get $10,000 from?
Well,
at
because
this
I
age?
had started all these, because like, again, I was my daddy's daughter. So like I had opened a comic book store. I had just sold it. I had a pager business. I was like saving money for a house because, we're not supposed
Wow.
to. Yeah.
So you had $10,000 at 22 years old.
At 25.
Okay,
That was like,
25
yeah,
years old
yeah.
to loan someone like.
And a stranger at
Are
that.
you
I'm like,
crazy? This is divine for sure because
know.
you are nuts.
listen, and I'm not even gonna get into the relationships that I had before that.
Well,
where
you're a good
I was
woman.
abused, I was taken advantage of, I did charge all my credit cards, I did buy these fools cars and shit.
Oh my God.
So I didn't learn my lesson.
Yeah. Well,
Thank God Tim was like a
listen,
nice guy.
I was old and didn't learn my lesson. So, you were young. We're just going to put it there. I could tell you, because some stories older me
Right.
didn't learn some lessons. So
I did. I
that's
gave him $10,000 to do a trailer. And then at the end of that week, I was
so
like,
let's back up. What movie was this in
this was called...
Because he was doing music videos.
Not at this time.
Okay, because he was doing music
fresh out of college.
Okay, go.
Fresh.
So what were the name of the movies?
It was, he did shot One of Us Tripped right out of college. And then this was the second one called The Firing Squad.
Okay.
Friends and family. You know, you got the neighborhood craft service and, you know, you're shooting on the porch across the street.
I'm just amazed that you gave him $10,000.
I did.
Did you have a contract?
I opened up
with
an
him?
account. I did. I had him sign. I was just writing my own shit down. I was like,
okay, girl.
You know, I'm a silent partner, but I own part of the movie.
Okay, girl. I did. I'm even more awe of you right now. Just that at 25, your brain, and that's why you brought up the business side.
Yes.
Was on, no, I'm getting my paperwork in order.
Yeah.
And I'm giving you this money. Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting.
So no, it's good. I actually gave him the money. And at the end of that, of course, because I'm like a business person, like, you know, and I was like, can I see the checkbook? Because I opened the account, put my money in. I want to see how much money's left.
Right.
And his partner at the time was writing checks. And I was like, do you mind if I see that? Because he was just writing checks and not writing down amounts in total and no balancing a checkbook or nothing.
Right.
And I ran in, because we were at his mama's house, because we took over one of his rooms to edit and and shoot.
Okay.
The production office was...
And where'd he grow up?
In Ladera.
I'm
sorry. On Overhill
Windsor
and
Hills.
Slauson.
Windsor Hills.
Yeah.
I was born in Windsor Hills and then I moved to Ladera. So I figured that. If he went to Westchester, I knew he grew up right there. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I never know where the cusp is.
They keep
View
changing
Park
it, girl.
and...
They keep changing it. My brother's back over there and they're called...
What's it called now? View Park?
It's called, I don't even know. It's not Windsor Hills. It's View Park now. And I'm like, what?
Yes.
We lived 2 blocks over and it was Windsor Hills. I'm so confused. But anyway, keep going.
In that area.
Yeah, in that area, which is a great area.
It's a great area. Yeah, exactly.
Black Beverly Hills, they call it or
exactly.
whatever. But yes.
And so I ran into the room and I was like, he wrote checks beyond the amount that was in the account. Like he drew over the count. It was overdrawn.
Oh my
and
God.
I was like, from that point on, I was no longer silent. I was a silent partner on paper, but I took over.
Right.
Never produced anything in my life.
Wow.
But I knew my money was in it. And I knew that I had an investment. And the man then tells me, I want to continue shooting. And I said, with what money? And because I'm who I am, I started pulling out my credit cards.
Wow.
I started...
Wow.
I know. And so $200,000 later.
No.
Yes.
200. You were able to finagle at 25. $200,000 to produce a movie?
You know, the thing is...
Were you borrowing from other people and stuff? Everybody.
I had savings, but I also, because of the past relationships, I knew how to revolve the shit out of a credit card.
Wow. I'm really impressed.
Take this, pay off this credit card. And, I mean, I was like the master, like, I'm doing this shit now in an indie movie. And I just did it. And I pulled it off. And we were literally paying minimums on everything. And then at the end, we needed a reel to send out to film festivals. And that's when I went home and I was like, my dad was like, because, he invested in some of my things, my businesses. And he was like, well, how's the film going? And I said, well, we're kind of $40,000 short of like getting the reels because we need to shop it. My dad pulls out his wallet, pulls out a credit card. He's like, this has a balance of $40,000. Would this work? And I looked at my husband. I was like, no, he was not my husband back then. But I looked at my brother. I was like, yes, please. And that's when I knew that Tim was welcomed. Not the other boyfriends was like.
I'm just blown away that your family believed in you and you believed in him. And these were I didn't know this about. I mean, I read a little bit about you gave him $10,000. I didn't know about the further and that's when I see him, I'm be like, you the luckiest mother. No, he's gonna be like, oh my God.
Oh no, when people start reading the book, they're I'm like, Tim, you might want to read that book.
Yeah, did he read it yet?
No.
What? I'm sorry I'm so loud. He's going to be like, you just threw me under the bus.
Yes, but luckily it's the second version, so the other stuff is not in it. It's not in this one.
That's so funny. So
But-
all of this, and so you guys get the movie, you get it in the film
Yes,
festival.
we get in the film festival.
How does it go? How
You
does-
know, he won. I think we won an award at the Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame. I forgot the name of the
Right.
festival.
Okay. That's awesome. So he won
and
stuff.
He won something. It
Yeah.
didn't make any money, but
Right.
you know, and I don't even know if you can even find it. Maybe on, I don't know, DVDs aren't a thing now. But
Give us everything you and Tim have produced together.
so
Just to give us a
okay.
history, because we're talking about him.
So-
People are like, oh,
yeah. So actually, after that, he started to do music videos.
yes.
Right.
Yep.
And so that's the
That's
world.
how
the
I
word,
know him.
yeah.
Yes.
So he started to direct music videos, and so we needed to pay the money back.
Right.
So he started writing treatments. He used to work for Ernie Singleton,
Right. Right.
and so
At Warner
he
Brothers.
was an assistant,
Yeah.
right? So then he was like, Ernie let us produce a couple of his artists,
Wow.
Ghetto Mafia,
yeah.
Benito.
Yeah.
Remember them? So
Yes.
he was like, "Oh, you guys want to do the video? They're new artists." And we're like, "Hell yeah!" So he did those videos, and that gave him a reel. He shot
So is this
that.
Ernie Singleton when he was at MCA or Ernie Singleton at Warner Brothers?
After MCA when he was
Managing.
Yeah,
Okay. Got it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This is so crazy.
It's such a small
Our
world.
worlds are like colliding
I know.
on this
It's-
stage, y'all.
It's such a small world. That's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, and so he started writing treatments with the
Mhm.
reel that he did built with Ernie. And I remember one of the directors that friends that had was doing a video, and Tim was shadowing him. He's like, "Hey, you want to co-direct? You want to write some treatments?" He writes treatments. He books his first job, and I remember seeing that check, and he's like, "I think I need to quit my job. Is it okay if I quit with Ernie Singh, because I want to go do the director music videos?"
Right.
And he calls me and he says, "So I want to quit my job. Can we afford?" Because we're paying minimums on everything,
Right.
all the credit cards, all the debt.
Wow.
Yeah. And I went back, added up my payroll, and I said, "Well, we can't eat at Astro Burgers anymore."
Okay.
And so we literally he started writing treatments. And so he started doing music videos. And when I think maybe a couple months in after booking his third or fourth one, he calls me. I used to work at Nordstrom West Side, and says, "Are you ready to quit your job?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Hell yeah." He's like, "I know you really enjoy the production side." And so I quit my job and I started to PA because I didn't want to be the one that was like known as the girlfriend fucking the director.
Right.
So I
Even
worked
though
my
no,
way
you're
up.
not the
even though-
girlfriend fucking the director. You're the
Yeah,
financier
right.
who
Exactly.
gave the director his
Exactly,
start. That's
right.
a whole different thing.
Right. But nobody, back
Yeah.
then it's like they would never hear that story.
No.
Like they're learning it now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing of it is that the most important thing is you guys are married and still together
Yes.
as a team.
Yes.
That teamwork
Mm-hmm.
started with
Yeah.
you trusting, and he honored you and didn't go fly by night like 100 other people would have done.
I know.
And he
yeah.
came back and said, "Hey, how you want to quit your job? We're starting this together."
Yeah.
And that's the moral of the story. You
Yeah.
picked right. You picked really well. Like,
Yeah. And now I know that I have a certain attunement
yes.
with, some of the intuition and things that we as women have innately, I believe,
No, for sure. For sure.
And so there was always that feeling of like, oh, this is the time. I knew that I had made bad choices prior, but
Yep.
I had gone through enough experiences, just like with the businesses, right? I had failed enough, fail and fail fast, as we always tell the kids, you
Right,
know?
Right.
And that's what I did. And so cut to like, now getting to music videos, that's when, we ramped up and just started paying it back, ended up paying my dad back. Ended
Aw.
up paying off all the
I
credit
know
cards.
your dad was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"You're paying me back."
Yeah,
Like,
it was like a huge moment when we started to pay people back,
that's
and
amazing.
people that we borrowed money from and whatnot. Because
No.
I wasn't the only one that raised the 200,000. There were obviously other investors, and Tim, had a lot of support.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, the thing of it is integrity. And integrity
Mhm.
in Hollywood speaks volumes.
yeah,
People, if you're in the business as long as you guys have, as long as we've been in this business,
mm-hmm.
your integrity keeps you in this business. How you treat people keeps you in this business. It's your Rolodex. That is your power. If anybody asks me, how did I survive in the entertainment business? It's my Rolodex, which is my resilience and being good to people.
Yes,
And that is the most important, because we know the people who aren't good to people, you avoid them like the plague. You go, oh, they're not cool. I don't want to do business with them again. It's funny. I just brought somebody back in my life on a business side that I hadn't had in my life in like 30 years. And one minute I went, oh, yeah, I remember why. They talked me back into it. I mean, we're good, but people remember what you do. So paying people back, especially in the film business, is almost unheard of.
Yeah.
Unless a film goes like crazy, does really well. So you guys transfer over and then you guys have a company together.
Yes. And there's a story around that because I created the Story Company Inc. because I was doing all our taxes.
You were doing
And
taxes too.
yeah, I was I was doing our taxes.
You know what?
Because-
We're going to dinner tonight, and I'm going to see what I can give you to do for me.
And so-
you're doing. I think I want to marry you. You tell Tim. Sorry, Alison wants to marry me now.
And so I was doing our taxes, and I was like, "Oh my God, we have a $17,000 tax bill." And he was like, "What the fuck?"
Yep.
And I was like, "But we can get around it. Let me incorporate,
Right.
and we can." And so that's how the Story Company was born,
Wow.
because of taxes.
And how long has it been since you had the Story Company?
1993. It said 1993, which is odd because I'm like, did I mistakenly write 93? Because I was 95 when we re-entered.
And what movies have you guys direct produced?
So everything now gets paid to the Story Company.
Right.
So because now we know.
Right.
We don't pay Tim and Vicky.
Right.
The Story Company pays us.
Right, exactly.
So the first movie that he did outside of film music videos was Barbershop.
Barbershop, yep.
And Barbershop
That put him on the map.
Put him on the map.
Yeah,
Then
put
he
you
went-
guys on the map.
Put us in the map.
Yeah.
Yep. And then he did Taxi with Queen Latifah and Fallon.
Yep.
Jimmy Fallon. And then Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer. I mean, it just...
And then you guys just did the
continues.
last Eddie Murphy movie, right?
Yeah, we just did The Pickup
Yep,
at
The Pickup.
Amazon Prime.
That's amazing.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you run the
we're,
whole back
We're
room.
finishing up like Netflix's 72 Hours with Kevin Hart
Yep.
as well. It's
Awesome.
probably going to be out by the time this is out. But he also did the ride-alongs and Think Like a Man's.
Yep, that's right. I forgot about all that. That's
yeah.
amazing. So you guys had an amazing run. And you run the back room and got them started. And I love that.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
But it is about one thing that we were talking about. It's foundation and resilience. Now let's switch from the movie side, because that's great. We're in Hollywood. That's great. And amazing credentials. But really talk about how hard it is in Hollywood you have a family. How many kids do you guys have now?
3.
3 kids. You're running a business. You're in the mix. And, running a business in LA and kids is a lot altogether.
Yes.
And then you tell me a little bit about what happened with you not feeling well and you having to take a moment because you're pouring so much into everybody else that as a mother, I did the same thing. You forget to pour into yourself. And sometimes you have that breaking moment where it's like, I need a moment to stop. And I know you talk a lot about that. So give me kind of that ramp up to how that all happened. And when you had to say, I'm going to put myself first because I've been putting my husband and our business first, our children first. We're successful. And now I'm depleted because I need some downtime. And I'm okay with taking it.
Yeah. It's interesting because you don't really know you're doing as much as you're doing. You just become
a machine.
A machine. You're on autopilot, right? I had the 3 children and I was taking them to rehearsals, theater rehearsals, volleyball games, and like baseball game, all of the things, mom stuff, right? LA's, you're driving everywhere, right? So you're wearing a lot of hats. And Tim is at that point, like his career is shooting up. Like he's just becoming this $1 billion. He was the first $1 billion in the box office,
franchise
Black director. Yeah. And meanwhile, I'm raising the kids. So I'm watching his success, right? And I'm literally now behind the curtain and I'm mechanically working, managing our real estate properties and like managing the business and being the conduit between him and like, our business managers and the legal team and, all of
Which is a
those
lot.
things. It's a lot, it didn't feel like a lot. It felt that's my job. Like it was
Right.
mandatory. So there was no complaint. It's just what I did.
Right.
That's how it started and it just continued, right? So you don't really know that there's a transition that happens, but when I had our first child, it was like, oh, I can't do the thing and the produce the.
Let me say something there that I keep bringing up when you have your children is you believe you can do everything until you birth a child. And then you go, oh,
Oh,
I got to take a moment here. And it stops you. You're giving up part of your mojo.
mm-hmm.
You have to readjust.
I like complete halt.
Complete halt.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I could do everything, just like you.
Yeah.
I got it all. I can do. I'm gonna have that baby on
Yep.
my hip. No.
And still trying to be cute.
Yeah. Yes. Breastfeeding. Like, oh, and they're off to the races doing
Yeah.
their thing, and then you're like, oh, I gotta take a moment. But continue. Sorry for
Yeah. So
interrupting.
no.
I feel you.
And so the one child becomes the second child and the third. And like next thing you know, cut to, I'm like, oh God, I have 3 children. And I think by the time I had Mason, who's the baby boy, he was 3 years old, 4 years old. And I think we moved 4 times because during the crash, the bank crash, like we lost a home and then we moved to a 2-bedroom, from a 6-bedroom to a 2-bedroom next to
Wow.
his mama's house
Wow.
in View Park.
Wow.
And I was like, I cannot have like that close of a
So let's back up to the
distance.
crash. So you guys went through the crash. You guys lost a house. You had to
Yes.
move out of your house
We
because
moved
the
the house.
entertainment business crashed.
Yes, like we foreclosed on the house because do you remember hurricane season? He did
Yes.
hurricane season as well.
Yes.
And that was a time when Weinstein like went through his
Yeah.
and he only had to choose one film to come out. Well, hurricane season went straight to DVD.
Okay.
That's before streaming, guys.
Yeah. DVD. Yep.
It went straight to DVD. Well, that put him in film jail.
Wow.
So
One
we
film.
one film did it. That crash would like tanked. Well, it went straight to DVD. So
Right.
so he was in film jail, and we had to move because we couldn't pay our Fantastic Four beautiful 6-bedroom house in Beverlywood.
Yep.
So another interesting thing that happened is like I stopped paying that mortgage and I renovated my house by USC, and I ended up flipping that house and started to do big rentals from USC students.
Wow.
So that's another business thing that I did was like I stopped
Oh yeah.
paying for this big
that's why
house.
we friends. That's why,
I got rid of that and I was like, you know what?
Wow.
I'm not paying this note. I'm going to put the money. I'd rather invest in that because by the time we lose this house, we can live on the rent
Wow.
at USC.
Right.
So that's what I did. We moved. We weren't working, and I was paying our rental with my property by USC, which we kept.
That's
Yeah.
called pivoting.
Yes. Oh, major pivot.
And again, part of this, my whole journey here is to show people that no matter how much money you have, no how far everybody has their ups and their downs. And it's how you work through the downtime,
Mm-hmm.
the time then you're in your roughest times really shows who you are and coming out of it. So to hear that, I didn't even know that about you guys, that this financial struggle of 2028 set you back, but it didn't make you quit. You had to pivot, and you pivot doing real estate.
Yeah.
And
because by the way, I
yeah.
got my broker's license
Of course you did.
because my father was like, you speak English.
Wow.
You can pass that test. This is something you can always fall back on. Again, this is the resilience that I learned growing up in the hood, hustling, trying to make a dollar because I didn't want to eat pork and beans and rice anymore.
Yep.
It was a real thing. And so like it didn't bother us to like foreclose on the house because
It was a business move.
it stressed him, of course it's going to stress the man out.
Of course.
But me, I was like, what are we doing? And he was like, well, I guess we're boxing shit up. I was like, all right, let's, but I wasn't afraid of that because it's like I didn't have the house,
Right.
So the pivot was real, but at the same time, it was an intersection of us losing the house, us having a newborn. I was pregnant. I got pregnant. There's a whole nother thing. I got
Yes.
pregnant with Mason knowing that he had a vasectomy scheduled
Wow.
because our second child was on her way to kindergarten. I was like, I'm getting my life back.
Right.
This body getting in
Those
shape.
were your
Right.
plans.
That was the plan, but not
Your plans,
quite.
we have all these
Yes.
plans, and God
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, whoa, whoa,
No.
whoa,
Oh, yeah.
wait a
No, the
minute."
boy wants to come through. So we
Wow.
lost our 6-bedroom house. We
Wow.
get pregnant.
Mm.
We move into a 2-bedroom. I'm pregnant next to my in-laws. And all of that was happening with him in film jail. So living
And how
on the
long was
rent
he in film jail?
until Think Like a Man.
Wow. So how many years is that?
Think Like a Man.
Think Like a Man. I love Think Like a Man.
What year was that? I know that Mason was born in 2011, so it had to be. Actually, you know what? I was pregnant with him when he was filming it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's right. It's
Okay.
right around the time. Yeah.
But let me back up. Staying together, not falling apart, keeping your family together, pivoting to a smaller house because that's what you had to do, picking up another career to make sure you guys survive. That's all resilience, reinvent. That's exactly what we're talking about here, and having the strength to do it. And most importantly, that you guys didn't break up while all this was going on, because one of the biggest things with people in relationships is financial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that you have this strength with each other to
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, we're going to make through this. I mean, I'm sure there were times where it was like, what are we doing? How are we doing? Like,
Well, this is to your question earlier about being overwhelmed.
Mhm,
Like I
exactly.
didn't know that that I was getting overwhelmed. I was
'Cause
just
you're
like, this is
you
what
think
we
you're
do.
handling it.
This is what we do.
You a baller
We,
chick. You
we
ballin'.
figure out how to make
Yeah.
it work. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it was a thing, right? And so when we moved into our home now, right? This was like the
I love
fourth
your
home
home.
because we left, the 2-bedroom, then we moved to another rental until we finally bought this house. It was I had 3 kids, 3 different schools, a preschooler, a middle schooler. Um, I want to say she started middle school and then elementary school. So there's the 3 kids, and then my sister was going through a divorce, and so I was helping her and taking in her child, her oldest, which is the same age as my oldest daughter.
Right.
And so she ended up. I had 4 kids at that point. 4
Wow.
kids, shuffling, like taking them all around city, driving to different schools, because Renee was going to New Road, so she was going to a different school. So I had 4 kids, 4 school, and all of a sudden, I
That's
ended up
crazy.
Tim was invited to do be a judge at the Belize Film Festival,
Mhm.
and so I went, and they hosted us on some remote island. I got bit up by like these sand fleas or these no-see-ums. I don't know what they're called.
Mhm.
And I got back to LA, and like soon thereafter, my bumps never went away. They ended up just becoming bigger and bigger, and I had these lesions that were like pussing, and I thought, and Tim's researching, this is like now Google, everyone's Googling everything. And and we thought I had leishmaniasis, which is a skin eating disease. And I was seeing dermatologist after dermatologist after dermatologist, and they couldn't find anything. 3 punch biopsies to the CDC. They said, it's not leishmaniasis. I said, what is it? Because it's now like all over my body. And it was like moving up from my
And
legs.
how long is this going on?
This was in 2000 and I want to say 16, 15 is when I got bit. And then this is gone. This is like 2016, around a year,
Like
10,
a year.
10 years ago.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And so then I went to this Chilean dermatologist, and she grabs my hands and she says, what are you doing? I said, what do you mean? My kids are doing this. And I started bragging like, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm working out. And she's like, you need to stop. She was the first person that realized that recognized in me that I was overextended.
You were burnt out.
I was burnt out, and she grabbed my hands and she was like, you need to stop. Go home and tell your family you're sick. I said, I'm not sick. I'm
Mhm.
healthy. I'm driving, I was still throwing parties, drinking all my friends under the bus.
Of course you were.
I was doing all the things,
Yeah.
because we're the party house. I mean,
Yes.
you
yes.
partied there.
Yes. Amazing parties. When are we doing another one? No. I'm
Right,
joking.
exactly. And so that's what happened. She grabbed, and I went home and I started bawling, and I was like, and the kids were like, "What's wrong, Mom?" I was like, "I'm sick." They're like, "You're not sick. You're never sick." Tim comes home, they run to him, "Mommy's sick." And he's like, "What's happening?" Because, like, the mother never gets sick.
Right. No, we just keep on going.
We never get sick. And
Yeah.
even if we're sick, we're not sick.
Right. We
You
just
know?
keep on
We
going.
pop the NyQuil and you keep on rolling.
So when at that time you came home and
Yeah.
she told you were sick, when did you say to yourself, I need to stop? You know what I mean? I need to take
when
a
it became
moment.
unbearable, I knew at that point when I was, it was a birthday and I was hiding my skin. Like, I used to wear the cute little dresses and I'm like, and all of a sudden I was like covering it from head to toe and it was so unbearable. I was burning, it was painful. And Tim was like, whatever you need to do. And that began my journey. And like, I took the physical cues, and that was my first, this is the first step of like that awareness and just stopping in the moment to say, what do you need? What do you need? Not your kids, not your husband, not your businesses, not the renters. What do you need?
Right.
And I think that's the first time I really asked myself that.
And how are the kids now? At that point, would you say?
They
Are they in high school?
were, no, middle school.
Middle school.
And elementary.
And what'd you do? What step did you take? Did you go to therapy? What did you do?
Ooh, that's a long, so many things.
Yeah.
But the first thing I did was I went to Palm Springs. A friend of mine was a manager that had his boss had a one of those homes that you can go and like kind of like try and, what is it called when you have a house and to try and court to get a new client.
Oh,
There's a
a
we're
house
gonna
for
cut this for sure.
I
But
don't know.
anyway, he had a house where he would like
I'm like, I don't know.
he would like entertain
Right.
new clients that he would bring on as their manager. So
Okay.
like, oh, you should stay in my house in Palm Springs. Well,
Okay.
my friend was able to get her boss to give us the home
Right.
because she saw me like really sick. Get the home. Tim drives me there. We'd all drive there on that weekend, and he takes the kids home. And I literally was at the house in Palm Springs, butt naked, crying and like pussing everywhere. And that was the first time I saw some relief.
Wow. And
And that
so
was the
what did you
beginning.
wind up so how did you physically get better? Like to
Oddly enough, it was almost like miraculously, like with the medicines and the ointments, and then me just being aware and I did everything. I started calling all the ancestors.
Yes.
I started praying. I started getting on my knees.
Well,
I was
it's
like praying the
funny you say
rosary every
that.
hour.
Let's talk about your spirituality because I'm glad you said that because I talk to my ancestors all the time. I believe in there's a higher spirit, the universe, our ancestors, God, whatever you believe, whatever you call. I mean, I believe in all of them, to be honest with you. But it's something about when you hit rock bottom or when you're scared that you really get connected to divinity and to a higher spirit that carries us. And we are not here alone. You know, I really, really want people to know that it doesn't, there's not one religion. Like, it's what you believe inside of you. And if you don't ask for help, you don't get help. So you're calling on them to help you, correct? Solve all what is going on with me. I want to be healthy. I don't want to take any of this for granted. How do
Yeah.
I do that? And when you say you call on your ancestors, the story is that I've been told, been taught, is that our ancestors are here to help us, but you have to ask them. So you have to ask your ancestors who have passed on, and I can give you a whole story about my mother who helped me when she passed on, but you have to ask them. So what were you saying to them? Because it's not everybody says that. So I'm pulling that out of you because I do it, and I don't want people to go like she's a weirdo, but it's true.
Yeah, I mean, first I'd like to add that I was raised Catholic.
Yeah.
So I grew up going to church every Sunday, Catholic mass. And so I have a lineage now that I've done a lot of research about my history because the ancestors are talking to me, right? So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, there's a whole lineage of
Right.
the maternal side and the feminine energy and venerating Mother Mary. Like it's like a huge energy force
Right.
behind my people.
Right.
And so there was the first, I'll go back a little bit. The first time that I called on faith is I was in college, and I was at the end of my rope. And I remember standing on the cliff in Pismo Beach, about to jump off the cliff. And because I had a very abusive boyfriend, and I went to Cal Poly Slow, so it's just right there. Pismo Beach, it's easy. Just go handle it. I didn't have the support of my parents because obviously we didn't talk. It's not something that we shared emotionally.
Mhm.
And I was also too with a bad man, so like, who's gonna go to their parents and say I need help because I'm
Mhm.
getting abused? Anyway, so
It's
the
terrible.
the first thing I did was I left the cliff and I went straight to the church,
Mhm.
and I was like, and I didn't. It just called me, and that was the first time where faith actually like saved my life, and in a way where it wasn't the construct of a church in the way that I
Because
was
spirit was
raised.
speaking to
It
you.
was, yes, it was like it was one of those connective high a connective tissue to the higher power, however you, like you said, however it comes up for
Mhm.
you. And so I was at that same moment when I had the skin disease,
Wow.
and I heard a calling, and that was the moment when you need to get back to your roots. You have a whole ancestor, you have an army behind you. Why aren't you tapping into that faith? This
Well,
is where this is what it's in your DNA, it's in your
it's
cells.
so important that you're saying this because I have lived it, and I think I think this is my just my own opinion about we're not taught how powerful we are as humans. We Every single one of us have these innate connection to the higher power, to if you want something, you put your mind to it, you can get it. And we're not taught that. We're really special beings. The humans on this planet. We're very unique.
Yes.
And I'm gonna stay away and then get back. But one thing that really, I mean, I've always known that as a kid. I grew up in Catholic school too. I went to Catholic school, and one thing you hear about all these religious stuff when you're in Catholicism and stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, okay. But something about when you get older, you start listening to these stories and these about how they had connection, about the connection with spirit. And it really is at those difficult times that it comes through, and not to ignore them. It's also your sixth sense. But I'll tell you, when I went to Egypt, and went to the pyramids and
See.
spent time in Egypt. I always wanted to go to Egypt. I wanted to go to Egypt. I got an opportunity to go, and it was the best trip of my entire life because I knew it just it just secured my understanding that we're so powerful as humans, and we are a derivative. And I can get into that's a whole nother chapter and a whole nother story, but we're a derivative of amazing beings. And when once you hit and you see these pyramids and you see these statues they built, like we're just the next generation. We're the small ones, but how powerful where we come from. And I think everything you're saying about ancestry, is I wasn't taught that through my parents. I've learned this on my own, and through spirituality, and through faith. And I'm really happy to hear you say that because I do want to jump more into that as we go along because our ancestors really can help us navigate through this world a lot easier than we even know. So, anyway, getting back to understanding the power of your ancestry and healing yourself and spirituality that got you back on your feet.
Yeah, it definitely started me on a different path that I was doing, chauffeuring kids around.
Right.
So I literally was like, I went to drive to see my aunts, and like I started to like ask questions and like really start to dive into like what I was feeling, because I like that it's was feeling like it was beyond me, you know? And that's what kind of set me on this journey. I was like, oh, I need to like, this is not my skin.
Mm-hmm.
It has
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do with my physical body. This is all energetically moving something inside of me that was so divine and so, it's like outer body that I was like, holy shit.
Well, it's funny, before you said divine, I was about to say divinely guided, divinely protected. Like,
Yeah.
I literally was about to say that and you said divine.
Divine.
And even when you met Tim, you talked about
Yeah.
that. Even when you were at a breaking point where you were abused by your
Hmm.
ex-boyfriend, but you listened to your inner soul, your spirit to take you to church to get you to that next level of not giving up on
Hmm.
life because you knew there was more. It's listening to that, knowing that there's hope. I keep saying that in our hardest times, we figure out how strong we are. So, is that how you came up with Sunshine Revolution? Let's jump a little bit into how you came up with your book, your method, as much as you want to talk about, because I know you have a book coming. But really, and one thing you and I met on, and I love this about you, and I'm jealous because I'm going to start doing this with you, is you taking these trips by yourself to go hiking and go to fabulous places. We were supposed to go to Machu Picchu together. That's what we talked about. I actually scheduled it, and I couldn't go for work. And we were going to go hiking up, but you went, and you're on your way to another trip, and you go on these spiritual retreats that I think is so phenomenal because you're putting the oxygen mask on you. So let's jump a little bit of how you started doing that and how it's come into your book and your method.
Well, this um it's actually a perfect segue because that journey that I started after going through that physical illness, it really did create an opening,
Hmm.
right? I started to see the clouds kind of open in this way. Um and when that happened, I just started to follow the signs, right? So the sunshine method is birthed from the sunshine revolution, and the book is really my journey on how I become sunshine. Um, uh, Going through all the healing from the past into who I am now. Um, but it begins with that, right? You start with the awareness piece, and that skin disease really did kind of like put me in this like of physical awareness, but that brought this internal awareness. And that internal awareness helped shepherd the external path. And so that pathway to be able to just follow the signs and for what life has and my purpose has for me,
Right.
not outside of the children, outside of the husband, outside of family, external, others, friends and family. Um, and I started to follow this path, and that path was painful. I had a lot of resentment because, you know, my husband's career went one way, and I was, I had a lot of, I would still say I had resentment from my path taking this detour. And so I began to do these self discovery awareness type of journeys by
Hmm.
myself,
Hmm.
because the only way to learn yourself is to be alone. I had to hear my own thoughts, and the signs become clouded when you're not alone, and when you're distracted with the calendar, with doing so
A
many
million
like, a
things for
million
everybody
things.
else. Yes. So you took
And
the
so I
time
took the
to, yeah.
time. Yeah, I took the time to do it for myself, and I would go on journeys, and whatever popped up, I would
How do
go.
you find these places? Because I'm like,
I get led.
I
I
looked at what you sent
Yeah.
me recently and I was like, how did she even find this? This looks amazing. I want to go.
It's
You know what I
I'm
mean? I'm going to start
literally it
joining you.
was I just start to like pay attention to like what like there was a party I had at the house.
Yeah.
I went back into drinking because I gave it up because I realized now that I was an alcoholic, and like I started itching, and I
Right.
like ended up saying I have to leave because I didn't know how to say that.
Right.
But at that point, I was like, I have to leave, and I ended up going to San Francisco. And he's like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "I don't know." And I pull up the thing, and it says 222 Mason Street. There's a hotel. I was like, "Look, I'm gonna go here. Those are my numbers, 222. My birthday's on
Wow.
the 22nd. My son's name is Mason. I'm going here."
Wow.
And my husband was like, "What?" And I was like, And I started to do that. I would be on the phone with a healer and she's like, "You're going to Peru." Okay, where am I going? Why? You're just going to go. You need to balance your feminine and masculine. I went without even knowing I was doing plant medicine.
Right. Wow.
I told you about that story.
Yeah. Yes.
So like I started to do that. And then
Yeah.
the more and more I connected with myself and began to learn and love myself again and heal through those stories.
And how many trips have you been on now by yourself?
I know I've been to Peru at least 5, 6 times.
I know. I'm going to Peru with you because nobody wants to hike like that. I'm going next time.
Now I got a new foot.
Yeah, exactly. Your foot's better.
I had surgery on my foot, but
yeah, it's funny because none of it's funny. This is really deep because I love to hear the journey of you healing yourself, putting the oxygen mask on you with kids and a family and a big production going on that you had to stop and put yourself first, which us women, usually a lot of mothers forget to do. We drive ourselves to the end and then we break down and we wonder why we can't get back up. And I think this is the moral of all this whole story of why you're here on Out of the Fire is because all of us need a break. The reason why I have this podcast, because I almost gave up myself trying to get out of a toxic divorce, trying to figure out who I am again, get my career back, get out of debt. I was in debt from my divorce, like $400,000 to $500,000. Nobody would hire me, and I clawed my way back. I have a book, as you know, coming called "Don't Be a Dumb Bee Like Me: Life Lessons of a Woman Who Had It All, Lost It All, and Got It All Back." I picked the wrong guy to marry, and I had to get myself back on my feet. And I think a lot of us do this, and it's sometimes when you hit the rock bottom is when you get that aha moment on clarity on what you want. And for me, I really believe the clarity of what's the perfect life for you? What's your dharma? How do you see? Because if you don't have clarity, the universe can't answer you. Your ancestors can't answer you. You're stuck in that cloud. So I want to ask you a couple questions. Give me some. I like to ask people, what would you have told your younger self now that could have helped your younger self? Like, what would you have told yourself when you were younger from now to help?
As an adult?
Yes, as who you are now.
I think I would have loved to be able to tell little Vicky that she was always loved. Because I think that kind of sense of not being loved or not being paid attention to led me to the molestation, because a guy was flirting with me and showing me love that I was deeply needing. And so if I were to talk to little girls, like, you're loved.
Right.
And I think that oftentimes as little girls, we try to find love and it's like, it's all in here. And that to me, I think was all I could say, that I would love to like give her a hug and just say, you are always loved. You always have love in you. God has you. God loves you.
God loves you.
You know?
And self-love.
Yeah.
And self-respect. And it's hard because, and it's not just girls, it's kids. I think kids even now, the younger kids in this era, these 20-year-olds with the whole social media thing, it really is that they're looking to belong somewhere and to find that love. And, self-love is the most important.
Yes.
Because if you love yourself, you don't put up with bullshit. You're like, no, you're not going to step on me this way. And it's hard. It's hard to learn that if you're not taught that. Like you said, your family background didn't teach you that. And it's very interesting because it does kind of start with the family. Okay, I'm going to ask you another question. My book is Don't Be a Dumb Bee. Give me one of your dumb bee moments, like one dumb bee moment. Okay, that man. And how long did you date that man?
Oh, gosh, probably a year and some.
Yeah, men can be, relationships can be very toxic.
Don't be a dumb bee.
Don't be a dumb bee.
It was just a horrible, listen, sometimes you have to pay attention to those butterflies in your stomach. And when you feel that message, the red flag, pay attention to the red flags.
Yeah.
A lot of things I did, I didn't pay attention to the
Oh
red
my
flags because it was
gosh.
just too much fun.
No,
And
girl, it's funny you say that because you know when
we
you're in trouble.
know.
You know when they're not
Yeah.
right for you. You know when you're in
Yes.
trouble. You got to listen to your gut.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the same thing. The
Yeah.
reason why all the problems I had, the only person I can blame, I look in the mirror and blame myself. Because I knew it, hello, but I thought I could fix someone, change someone, give them enough love. Oh, let me help you. Let me do a lot that you were talking about, I have done. And the thing of it is that you can't fix somebody who's broken already. If they're not in therapy, working on themselves, really trying to help themselves. So it's just, we have so many similarities. Like, honestly, it's so many, our stories are so like just how we met. And, but I really, first, thank you for coming to be on the podcast.
Of
Thank you
course.
so
Anytime.
much. And telling
So
your
much fun.
story and trusting that you can tell these stories. I'm super excited about your book coming, which is Sunshine Revolution, right?
Yes, the Sunshine Revolution.
And the Sunshine Method.
Yes.
And let me know where we can find you on all your social media
right
handles.
now, sunshineinsouthcentral.com.
Okay.
It's my website.
Awesome.
And you can access everything there.
Okay,
You can even
awesome.
reach me there.
Awesome. And what do you have coming up next? What's the book coming? Give us what's
The
coming up.
book is coming
Movies, what do you got
probably
going
the
on?
year. Tim and I just shot our first indie that we raised money and invested in ourselves. So we co-financed with another partner.
What's the name of the movie?
Divorce Coach.
Oh,
Because we need coaching.
wow.
You know?
I want to see that movie. You should have hired me on that movie. Divorce Coach, you should have hired me. I've been married twice, divorced twice. I got some information, okay? Seriously.
We need to talk.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, so we just shot it. 17-day
awesome.
shoot in 15 days.
And who's in it?
Can I say that now?
I don't know. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Gabrielle Union,
Awesome.
Michael
Love her.
Ealy.
Yep, love both of them.
Queen Latifah.
Awesome.
Dion Cole, Mike Epps.
Wow.
Miles Brown.
Wow.
Blackish. And
Okay.
Annie Gonzalez.
That's
who
dope.
Dope, so
dope.
we called our friends.
That's good.
Like right now we have the resources to do it. So I told them, I said, bank on ourselves. But you know me. Now you know my story. So
I love it.
I'm always push for the outer limits.
Yeah. No, I love that. Just from the beginning, I didn't even know all that. So you've educated so much. And most importantly, resilience, reinvention, pivoting, and putting the oxygen mask on you at the same time. And that's what I want people to walk away with from this show, because you really, in the middle of everything that you had going on, you stopped and knew you had to take care of yourself or you wouldn't survive. And that's what we all have to learn how to do. And it's hard. It's a hard pivot.
It is.
So thank you so much. For anything else you want us to know that's upcoming that we need to know?
No, I mean,
well, you're coming back.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk. We're gonna evolve and come back.
Wonderful.
Wait a minute. What's the name of the movie? Divorce Couple?
Divorce Coach.
Divorce Coach. I want to do something on that. Like,
yes.
I want to get everybody here and talk about that.
Yes, actually.
I had a crazy divorce, so I already know that the movie is going to be hilarious. So I'm excited about that. But thank you so much for coming.
Of course, thank you for having me.
And your story is just inspiring, and I'm so happy to call you my friend. And I've learned a lot. Thank you. If you enjoyed Out of the Fire, don't forget to subscribe, like, and tell a friend. We have so many more stories coming. Come follow us at Out of the Fire.